is my brain going? Like, I actually don't know. Come here. Oh, my good boy. My goodest boy in the world. I don't know. I'm kind of like in a weird mood right now. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Victoria, but I go by Tori. And I've seen this video kind of circulating on YouTube, and I definitely wanted to participate since I have started uploading videos on my channel. So I thought it would be kind of fun to talk to you about some of my favorite books that I've read. So far in 2024, I have read 39 books, and I feel like I can definitely answer these questions. So I do want to give credit where credit is due. I've seen Sarah Curley post this video, I've seen Rachel Catherine post this video, and I've also seen Bestie Katie, and I recently watched Rachel Catherine's video, and she used Katie's questions, so that is what I did. And I tried not to repeat so many books, but I do have to repeat a couple of them just because I think you'll understand. So the first question is, the best book you've read in 2024. The best book I've read in 2024. This one right here. The Echo of Old Books, written by Barbara Davis. I don't know why I said written. This book is, I actually think about it multiple times a week. I can't stop recommending it. Every time someone asks what book they recommend, I actually have said this in every single comment. So I'm just gonna read you the yellow blurb on the top. A pair of mysterious books, a doomed romance, the echoes of a love that never died. I saw Gina mention this book in one of her, I think the summer TBR or one of her monthly TBR videos, and I literally commented, I said, this book has been my favorite one out of all of the 39 books that I've read. And that's saying something, because I have read some popular books this year, and this one has topped it easily. It's dual point of view, dual timeline, historical romance, historical fiction, a little bit of self-discovery. It's just, please, 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 I beg you, actually, don't embarrass me. Sorry, I had to. But seriously, it is about a bookseller who has this kind of magical power where she can feel the echoes of books. And the echoes are basically the feelings of the previous owner. And so she comes across two unpublished books that are beautiful additions, and she just suddenly feels like the sense of heartbreak and grief, kind of. And so she basically wants to bring these anonymous books to the rightful owner, and so it kind of goes through her journey. I actually love this book so much, so please, 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 if you get one recommendation, let it be this one. The second book is the best sequel you've read in 2024, and for this, easily, I have to go with Daisy Hates by Jessa Hastings. This is the first Daisy Hates book, and I just think that this universe in general is just so beautiful and lyrical, and I am so glad that I'm on the side that loves it, because it is kind of controversial where people either love it or hate it. I am obsessed with it. So easily the best sequel I've read is Daisy Hates. This follows three characters you get introduced in the first Magnolia Parks book: Daisy Hates, Julian Hates, and Christian Hems. Loved this book. Annotated the crap out of it. Two new releases that I haven't read yet in 2024, and that would be Funny Story and Wild Love by Elsie Silver. Those are the two main books I would think are like the most popular that I have interest in. Powerful did get released, the novella for Powerless, but I've heard nothing but great things, and I might download it on my Kindle. But I'm not super intrigued, as I wasn't completely obsessed with Powerless. Yeah, Powerful is a novella, Powerless is the book. I wasn't obsessed with Powerless, so therefore I'm kind of just like, meh, it is what it is for Powerful, but I do think I want to pick it up since I've heard nothing but great things about it. I do want to preface though, me and my Band-Aid, if you're wondering what this is, I basically cracked my nail almost in half, and so I just have this on so my nail doesn't actually fall off. So I have scheduled a nail appointment. I will preface, the good reviews I've seen for Powerful, people have loved Powerless. So if you are kind of mediocre about Powerless, but you've read Powerful, let me know in the comments, because everyone I've heard talk about Powerful has loved Powerless, and I'm kind of middle of the road. I didn't hate it, but I barely liked it. Speaking of Powerless, just went on a tangent. The two new releases that I haven't read are Funny Story by Emily Henry and Wild Love by Elsie Silver. Back to the actual question. Most anticipated releases for the second half of the year. Obviously, Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I think that is just no questions asked. I am curious to read it. I do plan to read it, but it's not going to be stop what current book I'm reading to read and binge the book. I think it's going to be I'm going to finish my book and then I'll go to Barnes & Noble and I'll buy the book and then I'll read it. The next one I am curious about is The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer. This also comes out in July. I am curious about this. I've heard it's kind of a grown-up The Chronicles of Narnia, according to Goodreads, and that's kind of all you have to tell me. I absolutely loved the movies. I didn't read the books, but I am just curious. I've heard really good things about this book and some high hopes for it. So I am joining bandwagon and I am curious about The Lost Story. The next book I am anticipating is Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. This comes out in August, so I think I have plenty of time to catch up and read Wild Love beforehand. That's kind of what happened with the Chestnut Spring series. She had released the first 3 books and I had to wait for Reckless and Hopeless. But it was like the best thing I've ever did was kind of read them close together. So I think that might be what I do for this time around. Even though I'm gonna have to wait for the 3rd book, I think that reading Wild Love and Wild Eyes close together will be beneficial. I heard that people enjoyed the character that Wild Eyes is about in Wild Love, so I'm excited to kind of understand that. Wild Eyes, again, comes out in August. In October, Air by Sabaa Tahir is coming out, and I am excited. I haven't heard many people talk about this, or I haven't heard much about this book in general, but the tagline on Goodreads says, prepare for an action-packed, ruthless, and romantic new fantasy. It's about love, legacy, and vengeance. So I am curious. It looks really good. So we'll see how I enjoy that one. And the last book that kind of caught my eye within the next couple of months is The Stars Are Dying by Chloe C. Peñaranda. I hope I said that right. The tagline says, the brightest star needs the darkest night. Sounds pretty good to me. It says, in a world abandoned by the celestial gardens and left to suffer a tyrant king's reign, all Astrea knows is safety in seclusion. With fragmented memories of only 5 years of her life, she's determined to discover more about her past, even if it means fleeing the cruel arms that hold her safe from the wicked vampires rumored to roam the land. Some genres and tropes off of Goodreads. It says it's a fantasy romance. It has vampires. It has fae. It's new adult, so it's not YA, but it's not, I'm assuming it's not going to be too spicy. We will see. It is considered a high fantasy, so I am looking at that, and the cover is stunning. I don't know if I'll be able to get this edition. The next question is the biggest surprise, and it has to go with Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. I kept saying Harlow, and I don't know, I think I was just thinking of the rapper. Starling House. This book was such a pleasant surprise, and I said that in my video that I'm currently editing. It will probably be up after this video because it is probably about 6 hours of footage because it took that long to find a 5-star. Okay, this wasn't a 5-star, however, it was really close. And it is not a debut novel, but it says a gorgeously modern gothic fantasy from the best-selling author of 10,000 Doors of January. I saw this cover and I just thought it was stunning, so I kind of picked it up because I got the audiobook off of Libby. It follows a sister protecting her younger brother. The female main character name is Opal, and she kind of finds herself drawn to the Starling House, but she is determined to find a better life for her younger brother, Jasper. And so she just kind of does what she needs to do as an older sister to help out her younger brother. So Arthur is the male interest in this book, and when she gets a chance to step inside the Starling house as a kind of maid, house cleaner, she does it because she wants some extra cash to help out her younger brother, and she kind of just unearths the buried secrets of the Starling house and of Arthur's own secret life. Last little blurb, it says, "In my dream I'm home and now she'll have to fight. Welcome to Starling house, enter if you dare." This was such a pleasant surprise because the writing was extremely beautiful. It wasn't too detailed, but it was detailed enough to paint the picture. I don't know if that had something to do with my immersive reading with the audiobook. I didn't know there was a subplot of romance because I try to avoid blurbs as much as possible. I love to go into books as blind as possible. Did that even make sense? I didn't know much going into this book because I love to go into books blind. So I didn't know that there was a romance, and I think I was only on page like 16 or something when I got a little hint of romance. And I loved Arthur because he just kind of did small acts of service to show Opal that he cared, but he obviously wouldn't admit that he cared, and she was kind of oblivious to his acts of service. And so one of the 5-star reviews that I saw, it said, if, you know, stay and rot in this old house with me was a trope, that would be the trope. This is a standalone, and I thought it was really well done. It had a beginning, it had a middle, it had an end, it had a plot, it had some twists, and it had romance. I would say it wasn't so gothic, but maybe it did have some like darker elements into it, and I really enjoyed the small town little glimpse that we got in this book. I thought it was really well done, and it was definitely the biggest surprise. I know I just rambled about this book, but if you haven't heard of it or thought about it, I would highly recommend. My new favorite author debut, or new to you, has to go to Abby Jimenez. I mean, I have 2 of her books right here. I read Yours Truly, I think back in March, and I cried at the end. I felt very seen. I do have generalized anxiety, and our male main character, Jacob, has anxiety as well, and I loved Brianna kind of saw his anxiety and kind of was like an acts of service queen for Jacob. I love this book, okay? I cried at the end. The whole premise of this book was quite interesting. You know, I think when a lot of us heard of the synopsis, we were kind of like, how is this gonna play? It's just gonna be cheesy. We all kind of know what's gonna happen, but the true Abby Jimenez herself, she always knows how to tie in something deeper. This book kind of focused on trauma, either from childhood or adult life, and really focusing on the self-healing and the journey and importance of self-healing. And so, you know, the queen just threw something that deep in there. So I loved this book. I did cry at this book as well. So definitely a new favorite author. She's an auto-buy author for me. I need to buy her backlist, read them, and I will definitely auto-buy the next one for sure. Newest fictional crush, I has to go with Justin from Just for the Summer. His quirkiness, acts of service, king energy was just something I adored, and I think most of the time that I did underline had something to do with what Justin said or what Justin did, and I loved him. I loved the effort he put into Emma. I loved the communication that he did. He really made it apparent of what he wanted, and he made that clear, and I appreciated the upfrontness. I loved, again, the quirkiness of him, and I loved how much he loved his family. So what a king. Justin is a king for sure. An honorable mention is Ethan from The Echo of Old Books. I think that Ethan was very patient, very kind. He showed up and he kind of just helped Ashlyn kind of go through this journey. He also had a love for books. So I really enjoyed him to Ashlyn during her journey, and I loved how persistent he was. So definitely shout out to Ethan. So I know I have already mentioned that Yours Truly and Just for the Summer made me cry. The Echo of Old Books, I think, made me tear up, but not as hard as Yours Truly or Just for the Summer. But this book low-key made me sob. Like, I remember having to stop the audiobook and just like process my emotions. 19 Steps by Millie Bobby Brown. Are you for real? Like, this book made me sob. Literally made me sob. And I think what really made me cry the most was near the ending. One of the male characters in this book does something for the female main character, and it just really hurt because this is kind of a true story. It is based off of Millie Bobby Brown's, I think, great grandmother, and I really enjoyed it. But the ending literally made me sob, and it definitely bumped up my rating for sure. I would recommend if you're into kind of a historical fiction, historical nonfiction. Yeah, I do have to preface, she had a ghostwriter help her, and she does acknowledge her in the acknowledgements. Do I think that she should have something on the cover? I'm not quite sure, because she put in print in the book that she could not have done it without the co-author. Kathleen McGurl was the person who helped her bring this book to life. So I do want to acknowledge that as well. A book that made me happy, I have two, are both books that I didn't think that were gonna make me happy. Granted, I'm trying to do different books to kind of spice things up and give you the best recommendations, or the most recommendations from the 39 books I've read this year. So a book that made me happy has to go to these two, Mother-Daughter Murder Night and Killers of a Certain Age. I think that both of these books were just a good time, and I really enjoyed my experience reading these. Killers of a Certain Age kind of follows a group of, I think, four female friends that are on the road to retirement, and part of their job and journey has to do with contract killing. And so on their retirement cruise, they find out that their employment / board are kind of out to get them, and it just kind of goes through their journey of coming back to safety and relying on what they know and each other. And I just found it very funny. I loved the relationship between the women and their banter, and I liked seeing the kind of past and present timeline of when they first joined the organization, and then when they are in the depths of danger and they have to rely on each other. And so I thought this was a good time. It made me happy, very lighthearted. Definitely would recommend. A debut author is Nina Simone, and her book is Mother-Daughter Murder Night, and I really enjoyed my time with this. I bought my grandma and my mom this, and I let my aunt in on it, and so she got it from her library. And so it was kind of a fun time to kind of hear my aunt's thoughts, because she read this before me, and then I read it, and now my grandma's reading it, and my mom has the large print edition. So it's kind of fun I really wanted to read it together, but I was really impatient, and I had the audiobook on Libby, and so I decided to just go ahead and read it. Maybe me reading it will spark them, and it did. Okay, let me just preface, the mystery element of this book was kind of on the back burner, but I appreciated it because it was more of a character study between the grandma, the mom, and the daughter. It was Lana, Jacqueline, or Jax, and Beth. And my favorite character was Lana, which is the grandma. She was just so funny. And I would definitely recommend, if you do pick up this book, to read the acknowledgements, because I think after reading the book, you kind of have more of appreciation for the storyline and the dynamic between the women. I also was happy because, as a environmentalist, a global sustainabilist, whatever you want to call it, it talked a lot about stewardship to the land, to the people, giving back. It had a lot to do with environmental stuff, sustainability. So I thought that was kind of a cool touch, and I definitely wanted to give an honorable mention. This one, I think I had a better happy time reading, but this one it made me happy to see such topics that I have a passion for be brought to in a book, and I'd actually get like recognition for the book. So I would definitely recommend these two mystery thriller lighthearted books for sure. Actually, I wouldn't say this is super lighthearted. It does have some trigger warnings, especially if someone in your family is dealing with cancer. It is in the synopsis, so I would just, you know, read the synopsis of both of these. I think these are both over 4 stars for me. This one's like a 4.5. This one is probably a 4.25. The next question is the most beautiful book you've been gifted, received, and it has to, hands down, go to the Magnolia Parks universe for sure. I mean, Mr. Mans bought me these books because I thought they were out of print, but apparently you can just get them at Blackwell's. He actually bought them used for me. I'm so mad I didn't pick these up when they were indie published, I think, which is what this is. I think that these covers are so stunning, and I really enjoy them. So this is Magnolia Parks. If you haven't seen it up close, I feel like a lot of people just hold it back far away, but if you haven't seen it up close, this is what this one looks like. Daisy Hates. I love so much. I just read this one, so I can kind of understand some of the graphics on the cover. Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home. I think this is so cool. I'm excited to see what this ship resembles in this book. Oh, also, even the back of these books are stunning, just have to say. I'll go back. The back of the book, it says, how many loves do you get in a lifetime? And then it just has kind of like a little collage moment. Collage moment. And then this back one says no guns at the dinner table. If you know, you know. This one has a bow necklace. And then this one just has like a statue with a bunch of tattoos. And then this one just has daisies on it. And this one says, it's the great undoing of my heart as I know it. This book I pre-ordered when it was released. So the font is a little different, but the sizing is the same. And this is the Into the Dark Magnolia Parks book. I love this one so much. I think it is so pretty. And this one is the back. So easily, these books are the most beautiful books that I own. They are my prized possessions. I almost don't want to annotate them because I fear I will ruin them. So grateful to have all 5 of these books, and I am definitely going to pre-order the special editions of the Magnolia Parks trio, and I do believe that they announced that they're going to do that for Daisy Hates after all of their books are released. So I have a feeling I'm gonna have a whole row on my bookshelf for just the Magnolia Parks universe. And then the last question of the original tag, I guess, is what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And I have quite a few for these. The first book that I need to read by the end of the year is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I am so excited to start this universe. I have it right here. I do believe if you watched my TBR prompts, pick my TBR, this book was picked and Assassin's Blade was right next to it. And I think it's just a sign that I start with Throne of Glass first. I know I can always do a reread, and I might reread Assassin's Blade first and then do that order, but I'm going to follow the Queen, Sarah J. Maas's preferred reading order, and I am going to read this one first. So I have to read. Out of all these books I'm about to talk about, this one is the highest priority for sure. The next book that I want to read by the end of the year is The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. I already have one of her books kind of on my radar. I've heard nothing but great things about this, and I am so excited to read it. I think the cover is stunning, and I've heard that it's kind of like a Willy Wonka magical kind of thing where they're doing like this competition on an island, and a teacher wants to adopt one of her students to get them out of like a abusive household or something. That's all I know. That's all I want to know. Definitely want to read this. The next book that I want to read by the end of the year is Adelaide by Genevieve Wheeler. I've heard that this book by Haley Barbour absolutely loved, and I think that this is just going to be a really great book for someone who's young in their 20s. Granted, I am in a happy, healthy relationship, whereas the main character in this book is not. But I think that this book will kind of be a beautiful life lesson in a way, and I'm very excited to read this. Need I say more? Like, I actually got the audiobook on Libby available sometime last week, but I said no to it. Can you imagine? I said no because I have so many books on my TBR this month and like higher priority books. And so when I pick this up, I want to be fully involved with it and not worry about any other book that I'm currently reading. So I decided to be smart and say no to the audiobook for now. This book will be read by the end of the year. I can guarantee it for sure. Probably even Daisy Hates The Great Undoing. And then the last book that I am like super prioritizing is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I decided to like put this on one of like my higher like TBRs. I just think that I will fly through this book. All I know is that it's about a girl who inherits a lot of money from a man she has no idea, and she has to live at the family's house for a full year, and there's some kind of love triangle. That's all I know. I actually got my younger cousin who has to do summer reading. It's not required or anything, but I actually got him this series so we could buddy read it together. He has a little bit of a lower reading ability, and so I'm hoping, and I thought this one might be intriguing for a teenage boy. I could be totally wrong, but I'm hoping that it's not, and I think it's gonna be something fun that we can kind of do together. So, Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. The next questions are from Katie's video, and again, I will put all of the questions in the description box below. The first question of Katie's questions is, what is a book you would like to reread this year? And I kind of took it as a book that I've read this year that I would prioritize over new releases and reread this year again. I don't think I need to say more. The Echo of Old Books. Again, I'm sorry, I didn't really want to repeat, but Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I think this was beautiful, and I definitely could see myself rereading this just because of the lyrical writing. Okay, and if I could reread a book, like, and it's not just specifically 2024, I would choose The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. When I read this, I read it on my Kindle, and so I would love to go back and annotate the copy, and so I would definitely love to reread this. It was one of like my top 3 books of 2023. So in 2024, if I could, I would do a reread, but I have so many books that I'm currently in the middle of that I have on my TBR that I want to read, so I don't know. So I want you to see my bookshelf, so there we go. The next question is a new favorite author so far this year, and it has to go to both of these authors again. I don't know if I've read more than 2 books of an author so far, so I would say I'm on track to read the most Jessa Hastings, reading her 5 books this year. However, if I do go back and read Abby Jimenez's backlist, I think I would read more of her. But both of these authors are just, they do something to my brain, you know. I have to give credit where credit is due, and these are my 2 picks. The next question says books that you've been putting off, and I have 4 for this. The first one is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. Yes. I just haven't heard like the best thing. I've heard that this is the best one out of the series, and I've also heard that you don't need to read this before reading Six of Crows. But from my understanding, from my memory, I tried reading Six of Crows and I just really couldn't get into it, and so I thought maybe reading Shadow and Bone first might help me understand the world and the backstory of Six of Crows. This is just a book I've been putting off. It's really like not that many pages, and the font is actually quite big, and so I need to pick this up and get through the series. Yeah, let me know if I should read this. Like, how high on my TBR should this be? This next book that I've been putting off, and I don't know why, and I didn't even realize that I did until recently. Yeah, Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I haven't read this one. I'm very shocked. I definitely need to read this. I am not a big sister, so I don't think I'll get that. I don't think I'll understand that reference in this book, but I still need to read it. Otherwise, I don't know what I'll do. Like, you can yell at me in the comments, please be nice, but Book Lovers by Emily Henry I've been kind of putting off. I think it's because I am currently trying to read Funny Story and it's just not hitting. I kind of did a softie enough. Yeah, this one I am like meh about. I don't know. I'm kind of like in a weird mood right now. The next book that I have been putting off is Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. I finished, obviously I've read the first 2 books before. I think I am just a little intimidated by this book. One, because of the thickness, it's almost 600 pages, and because I haven't heard the best things about Sloane and Lucian's story, but I think I just need to get over everyone else's opinion and form my own. So I need to read Things We Left Behind because I really enjoyed the Knock 'Em Out series and I would just love to get another series done and completed. So that is a book that I have been avoiding that I need to do. And then the last book, The Inheritance Games. I don't know why. I feel like I just have like this expectation that it's going to be super easy, super quick, super entertaining, and I just like am trying to get through other books that I have actually been putting this book off for so long. So it's on my immediate TBR. If the prompt jar allows me to, I will definitely put this on my June TBR, July TBR. It's July TBR. The book that I enjoyed with mixed reviews has to go to 19 Steps by Millie Bobby Brown. I think most of the mixed reviews was because of the... What is he doing? Just sitting there. He's just sitting there. Just sitting. Looking so handsome. My good boy. My goodest boy in the world. Back to what I was saying. I enjoyed 19 Steps. I think I just enjoyed the historical fiction element or historical nonfiction element, and I thought the audiobook was great. I don't know. People didn't really like this book for reasons I don't really agree with, just because I had a great time. I enjoyed it. I sobbed my eyes out. Calm down, please, and thank you. I enjoyed this book, and I definitely would say this has the most mixed reviews out of all the books I've read. The next question is a series you need to finish by 2024, I think. Is that what it says? Or a series that I want to finish by the end of the year? And it has to go to these 2. The Knock 'Em Out series and the Magnolia Parks universe. They need to be done and completed, you know? This one is my last one. This one is the 3rd out of 5 books. But I think that this one's manageable. I'm going to love it, absolutely 110%. I will annotate probably every page, if not every other page. This one, I need to get on my Kindle and read at night and finally get through this series. So these are 2 obtainable series that I think that I would be able to do. The next question is 5-star predictions. I'm going to talk about the ones I don't have yet. The Rom-Comers by Catherine Center is a upcoming release that I am excited for. It sounds like it's going to be a fun time. I read The Bodyguard. I really enjoyed Catherine Center's writing, and I am excited to see what that one will entail. The Bodyguard was like a 3.5, like almost a 4-star. It got a lot of hype, and I don't know. So I'm kind of hoping that the Rom-Comers will do it for me. We'll see how that goes. Leather and Lark, I have yet to read this. I am about 100 pages in, and I am loving it so far. Butcher and Blackbird was one of my top 5 books of last year, and so this is like sitting at a very high 5-star prediction. I think I'm at the turning point where the plot is about to really pick up, and so I am excited to continue this. So I don't know if it's going to be a 5-star, but I'm hoping it will, just because I absolutely adored, loved Butcher and Blackbird. So Leather and Lark has high expectations. Again, 5-star prediction. Probably, like, it's probably an automatic 5-star. The rest of the series, I have to say, okay? This one, The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I don't know why I said it like that. I think Sarah Crowley has kind of reinvigorated a lot of hype around this book. I absolutely love historical fiction, as you can tell by some of my favorite books. And I am very excited to read about the 2 sisters during World War II. I I think I need my heart broken. I think I need a good cry. I think I need to feel some feelings that might help me get back into reading. I think I'm kind of in a slump where I'm not really loving what I'm reading right now. And so I think I just need to actually devote some solid reading time to read so that way I can get back into it. But I think this might be something I need. The last two questions are super easy and super fast. The first one is, do you think you're gonna hit your reading goal? I would say yes, because I'm currently at 39 books and my goal was 40. If I had to like come up with another goal, I think I would do maybe 60 books. Soft goal, very soft goal. I don't think I'm gonna change it, but I think considering my lifestyle this year, I had lots of changes and lots of time doing other things that didn't require reading. So I am curious to see how much I'm going to read this year compared to last year, and then we'll go from there and see what my 2025 goal is, because I want it to be realistic. I want it to be challenging, and I really thought the 40 books were going to be challenging. I think it's quality over quantity, so I would really love to have a lot of good books this year or even next year. So I would say, yes, I'm going to hit my goal. No, I don't plan on changing it, but I will consider this for 2025 goal. The last thing is, what are some goals for you for the rest of the year? So I do want to get through my physical TBR. It's not the biggest thing because honestly, my cart right here, the TBR, a lot of them are some books I'm not really like in the immediate like mood to grab, but I do want to continue to clear the TBR cart. And so in doing that, that is my biggest goal, is to really prioritize physical books that I have. I have the really bad habit of buying books as a whole, as a box set, instead of reading them as I go. So I have quite a lot of series. I think about 9 series that I have purchased the entire box set, and I haven't even read the first book. So I definitely want to work through the unstarted series and get through my physical TBR. The second goal I have for myself is to buy used book trophies. And so if I do buy a book on my Kindle, either Kindle Unlimited or what have you, I want to try to buy a used version of it. That's just something that's like my sustainability side, my environmentalist side. If I can buy books that are used or, you know, barely used, I think I would love to do that. I also want to support more local bookstores. So that would allow me to get out of the house, kind of explore the new city. And so I would love to support indie or smaller bookstores. My last goal is to just continue to use Libby as much as possible. I absolutely adore Libby. I think it is fantastic. I want to continue to use them as a really great platform to read a lot of the popular books. I have kind of used a crazy amount of Libby so far, and I don't plan on stopping. So those are my 3 kind of goals. Really dwindle down my physical TBR and kind of start and finish the series that I have on my shelf, to buy used books when I can or when I feel like I should. And then the third one is just continue to use Libby. I love Libby. She is great. That was my long-winded mid-year book tag. I hope you got some really good recommendations. I hope I explained them well. If you have read any of these books or you kind of got a new recommendation, I would love to know in the comments down below. What are some of the different books that I haven't talked about? What are some of your favorite books or highly recommended books that you've read this year? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to have a conversation with you. I hope you subscribe and stick around. Make sure to give my video a little thumbs up action. It would make my day. And I hope to see you guys in my next one. Bye.